Hey, it's Adam here from ENTA Asks, and we are super excited. Today we have Saawan Logan on the show, and she is the co-founder of North Water, which is a local water company that is bottling Alberta spring water in reusable aluminum cans. So you're gonna wanna check this out. Hey, it's Adam and Kate here, and this is another edition of ENTA Asks, and we are super excited to be on site with our friend and founder of North Water, Saawan Logan.
Hello.
Hi, Saawan.
Hi.
So North Water is guilt-free hydration, fully aluminum, fully recyclable, reusable bottle, delicious locally sourced water.
Straight.
Oh.
Canadian Rocky Mountains.
Woo-hoo.
Never fails.
Right?
I love it. I'm a hiker too. So when you talked about
Amazing.
the first episode, go check it out if you haven't seen it. If you talked about drinking from the stream, I'm like that girl. Like I love it too.
Yeah.
So
You can like hear the burbling brook as you talk, right?
That fresh, crisp taste, right? Like that, and it's so cold. Water here in the mountains is so cold. It could be 30 degrees outside, and the water is like cold. Ah, yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
a great,
refreshing.
yeah,
Thirsty.
so refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I jumped in. I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
Have fun. No, so we wanted to talk about some of these, we call them water monsters. Okay, like these are the myths and or the false beliefs people have about the goods and bads about bottled water.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my first thing is it's the bottle, right? That's the biggest monster.
The water is actually.
Really?
The bottle is a secondary monster. The water is the real monster. So I'll tell you why. I think for many people, the notion of water is free. Why am I paying for it?
Mm-hmm.
You taking water from our streams and our springs and bottling them when the rest of the world is dehydrated and has no water and is having droughts. California is a fine example of that.
Mm-hmm.
So because there's such a large segment of the world that doesn't have access to clean drinking water, we immediately think that if you're taking more than your share, you're actually a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it doesn't matter what you package it in, it's irrelevant. So yeah, but people have this notion that if you are bottling and selling something that's actually a need, not a want, it's a need, it's needed for human survival. I can get it for free, because I can open my tap whenever I want. Well, hello, you live in a first world country, you can, right? Not everybody can.
Well, and not everybody even in Canada can.
No, not everybody, exactly. Even Canadians don't have access to clean drinking water. Many Canadians don't, and it's a shame, but it's the truth.
We don't talk about that enough.
No, and that was crazy to me, right? I mean, obviously I'm aware of third world and, global issues with water and things like that, but to say
Drinking water crisis in your own
in
land.
Canada, in my own backyard, that was shocking.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and there's, as Canadians, we need to not tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
It pains me that we actually tolerate this. We should be holding ourselves to a better standard, right?
I agree. So that's one of the reasons why North Water works with local charities that actually help alleviate that problem on First Nations reserves, because we need to. So yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we should do more of it. One of the things I like to promote is that the best thing you can do is really drink out of the tap, if it's safe to do so.
Yeah.
Right? If it's safe to do so, drink out of the tap. You don't need to buy bottled water. But the world we live in right now, bottled water demand is just going up. It's going up and up and up because we're traveling way more than we ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And when we travel, we don't drink out of the tap, we buy bottled water.
Yeah.
We're notorious for it because we're always scared as tourists that we're going to fall sick somewhere, even if it's Australia or United States of America, it doesn't matter where we're traveling. So that's one thing. The other reason the shift is happening is because of the choices we are making for health reasons. We're becoming more conscious of what we put in our bodies in terms of the sugar in everything that we consume. There's a reason Coke and Pepsi are seeing a decline in their traditional beverages of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Right? Water is becoming the go-to drink or beverage for many people now.
You told me an interesting fact about, I like a good glass of wine, but you told me an interesting fact about a bottle of wine.
Yes. So, indeed, when we talk about the monster, water being the monster, why are you taking more, than you should, and why are you selling water? What people don't realize is what we consume and what it takes to make what we consume. And wine is that great example. It takes actually 872 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of wine.
Wow.
Because that's what a grape needs to grow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. So really, like, the bottled water consumption is a way less water consumer than some other products out there.
It's very equivalent, very, very much. It's pretty much what goes into a bottle, and you can put another about, 20 milliliters of waste on a big day.
Wow.
Right? So the waste is so small in it because water is 1-to-1, it's equivalent.
Yeah.
And we're not talking packaging right now. We're not talking about the bottles right now. We're not talking about any of that. We're just talking about the product that's inside the bottle. Same with beer, right? Like the wheat, what it takes to grow anything,
hops,
right? Hops, all of that.
Yeah.
So it's to actually classify just one group as a monster, it's kind of unfair. The Canadian Bottled Water Association did a really good study back in the day when Nestle was on fire for drawing water. And there should have been, because we pay for water. What we draw, we pay for it. And we shouldn't be free. Nestle wasn't paying at that time. And this is prior to BC government making it regulating that you actually have to pay for what you draw. The Canadian Bottled Water Association did a study, and they learned that of all the bottled water companies in BC, what they used was equivalent to like 70 or 80 golf courses of water, that what golf courses used. And there are 300 golf courses in BC, over 300.
Oh my goodness.
So the Nestle, which is the evil company that was made to look so evil, plus every other bottled water company in BC, Whistler Water and whatever, I don't even know half of them, Happy, and there's so many of them.
Yeah.
What they used in total for a year-round supply was not even 50% of what the golf courses used in 9 months or 7 months that they were open.
Wow. Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors,
right?
Yeah.
Makes you really question like what I do and what I don't know and who's telling me, right? I see a documentary, I think bottled water, I immediately think about a documentary I saw that showed like landfills full of bottles of water, and that, has an emotional reaction when I think about that. But you're right, if you trace it back to its source, that's what you don't think of. I see a beautiful golf course with the sprinklers going, and I think fantastic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we look at the green, we're like, it's nice and green, so lush. Great day. Yeah, great day at the golf course. Indeed.
It's true. We don't think of all the things that go into it, and I think as consumers, we need to educate ourselves a little bit more on what it is that actually it takes for us to have that product, in our hands.
And we were talking about avocados earlier, right?
Yeah.
Remember that? Same thing, 66 gallons of water for one avocado. So the next time you're eating an avocado,
So your avocado toast.
Your avocado toast. We're like, this smashed avocado toast should be about $100 because 66 gallons of water. And where does avocado grow? Not in like water-rich areas. Right? Like and you're transporting. That doesn't include the transportation cost. We don't grow avocados here.
Well, and you get into the transportation cost, that is huge because you're talking about, okay, well, they needed to manufacture that truck, they needed to put gas in it, and the water it took to get all of that plant running and everything. Like, it is such a larger impact. And I think we like to vilify certain companies and certain products when because it's easy to see.
Yeah, of course.
It's easy to see versus really understanding the impact of things.
Yeah, and I think also people feel like, I'm all about your swell bottle. Like, hence we've got reusable bottles. Go fill it up and reuse it. Reuse it as much as you want, for as long as you can. And if it's not us, go get a swell bottle, go get a Contigo cup, whatever works for you. There's no judgment here. But people buy water, 75% of people buy water out of convenience.
Sure.
Because you forgot your bottle, or I was did BD for a while, and was tired of having coffees at 3 o'clock because then I'd be up all night. So what did I do? I bought a bottle of water instead.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd buy sparkling water because I didn't want to, it was nice to get a Perrier in a glass bottle or San Pellegrino in a glass bottle versus a plastic bottle.
Right.
Is what I did. But it didn't seem right to go sit in a coffee shop with somebody who bought a cup of coffee and you were like, I'm just going to have a glass of water, thanks. Or nothing.
Right?
You feel there's a social awkwardness,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
It's a social awkwardness around that. It's like, oh, I just want a glass of water. But I should be able to say, I want a glass of water and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah. But then you feel like, oh, well, I'm taking up space in your coffee shop, which you're paying for. I'm not going to tip you on a glass of water.
Sure.
You're not going to make money. You need to, like, all of these things cross your mind. And you feel bad for the person buying coffee for themselves.
Yeah.
So you want to play along.
Yeah, there is such a thing. It's so true. I do the same thing.
Well, maybe this is really interesting about why we love a branded villain. So the MegaPixx, some poor company, writes a story and they did something or they did not something or they're perceived to do something, and we're all like, oh, because that relieves me of any responsibility for my own beliefs and actions and how I do my day to day.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I'm like, oh, that's the problem.
The hypocrisy is
Right?
unbelievable, right? You see that quite a bit, like when you have celebrities flying over our open oil fields and stuff, and
Right.
they're complaining, and you're like, what about the massive diamond on your finger? Like, where do you think that came from?
Or the fact that you're flying over.
Or you're flying over private jet, right? Like, or you have a private island. Like, I remember one time they said about Al Gore, how Al Gore's carbon footprint was equivalent to the size of a small, village. Right, this is the guy preaching about climate change and all of those things, and I'm like, it's great. I'm glad we have that information. We need to be better human beings, no question.
Yeah.
But we can't be hypocrites, and we need to stop being hypocrites. We just need to make sure that our beliefs, what we value, our values come across in every single thing we do, not just one thing.
Yeah.
If you want to villainify one thing, just make sure that you don't have any association with the product.
Right. So speaking of product, you have these aluminum bottles, and they're bottled right here, actually, the other side of that
That's right.
wall over there. So tell me about the process for how it happens here.
So our water source is in a provincial park, so
Okay.
you can't build in a provincial park, which is good. We shouldn't. So we bring the water here, we bottle it, we don't do anything. It goes through a 3-step filtration process.
Okay.
And the filtration, all it does is make sure that there's no E. coli or anything that could potentially be in the water that could be not good for someone.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then we bottle it. We test the water when it comes in, and we test it once it's bottled to make sure it's safe to drink, and we don't add anything, and voila.
It's bottled,
It's
sealed.
already
Bottled.
so good. From
It's
the
already
mountain.
so
Right.
awesome. Yes.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah. Perfection doesn't need any further improvement, right?
No, it doesn't.
There you have it. I can't end on a better note than that.
So to get a hold of you, drinknorthwater.com.
drinknorthwater.com.
You can order right online.
You can order right online. You can go to Safe SOBs, co-ops. You can go to a number of coffee shops, Seed and Salts, to DeVille's, Dirt Belly, Hula, Chachi's,
Oh, amazing.
Phil and Sebastian, and get a hoopla donut with it.
Yeah,
There you go, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I am super excited. I've got mine, and I've been using it, the bottle we're using it, so I just love it. Like, my case has lasted me so much longer than a case that I would buy of plastic, right? And that is so cool. And we got to talk about some water monsters, and you educated us on some realisms in the water world, and we appreciate that. Next time, I want to talk about some of your favorite clients and how we all met. And it was really interesting.
It's a good story.
Saawan's next level. She's next level. So stay tuned, and we'll check you out next time.